request Excellency Mohammad Nasheed Ji, Speaker of the People's Majlis of Maldives. It's
Thank you
a
very
matter of
much.
happiness that you have recuperated and you're discharging your responsibilities. It is a matter of happiness. I wish you better health. Everyone prayed for your good health. And we are all happy. Uh, I would now request Excellency Mohammad Nasheed to address this gathering.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker of Lok Sabha, Om Birla. Good morning, good afternoon to all the speakers throughout the world. It gives me great pleasure to be speaking to this August gathering on the 100th anniversary of the All India Presiding Officers Conference. This is the 15th of September, and therefore we also celebrate the International Day of Democracy. The hasty rush out of Afghanistan, leaving the Afghan people to a group of people who came to power through the barrel of the gun, an unelected group of people, a group of people that have no respect for democracy, is certainly not reassuring. It is not reassuring to the people of Afghanistan, neither to South Asia or to the world. People in South Asia are bound to ask, people all over the world are bound to ask the question. And believe me, they do. What happened? Was that a massive failure of democracy? What happened to nation building in Afghanistan? Why did democracy not take root in Afghanistan? The view that it was because it is Afghanistan is extremely condescending and, I would say, downright racist. People are people. Human rights and democracy is not a property of any race or any single nation. Democracy and freedom is universal. The color of your skin or your race does not dictate the extent of pain. Torture is always painful. Hunger is always hard. Failure in Afghanistan certainly lies elsewhere. The people who occupied that country for 20 long years failed to construct functioning political parties. They failed to compose political manifestos. They failed to let people canvass for votes based on pledges to do good. They failed to run a free and fair election. They failed to build an election commission. They failed to establish a judiciary that will judge the fairness of an election. They failed to build an army that will protect the ballot. This, I believe, is why we primarily failed in Afghanistan. They failed to build a parliament. It was never because they were Afghans. I refuse to believe that democracy take root only if you are from a particular race. India, of course, is the shining example of that. The biggest democracy in the world. Today we celebrate 100 years of Indian Presiding Officers Conference. And another country in South Asia, Sri Lanka, has never transferred power other than through the ballot. Today, we must not lose faith. We must not give in. We must, as South Asians, as members of the democratic free world, as members of people who love freedom, we must not fail to continue our assistance in trying to build democracy in Afghanistan. We must assist the people of Afghanistan. There is more interest than ever before about issues related to democracy and good governance around the world. We cannot have effective, meaningful good governance over the long term in the absence of democracy. It never works. But recent years have seen democracy under threat from a variety of quarters. The rise of affluence, authoritarian regimes, and their export across the world of the methods and technology of dictatorship best practices. More recently, the rise of the populist right and the authoritarian left also poses great dangers for existing democracies, relatives to the United States. The role of new technology, particularly social media, and its ability to spread misinformation has made many people lose trust in traditional institutions. The media and chase conspiracy theories down the internet's many rabbit holes. The role of parliaments in upholding democracy could not, therefore, be more important as we see the threats to democracy grow all around us. Parliaments have a critical role to play. They fundamentally must faithfully represent the views of the electorate. To ensure governance by the people and for the people, at the same time, they must also respect and uphold constitutional order and ensure the views and wishes of the majority do not trample on the fundamental rights of minorities. One of those fundamental rights is freedom of speech, which is a keystone of democracy. Without this important freedom, many of our other freedoms fall away. A free society does not work unless people are allowed to think freely. And people often think by saying out loud their ideas and opinions, or writing about them online, or in the media. This must be protected at all costs. Democracy and the thought crime are fundamentally incompatible. Freedom of expression takes special significance for parliamentarians. It allows them to connect with citizens, raise their concerns, and denounce corruption or abuse. Parliamentarians must be allowed to do this freely, without fear of repression. Parliament cannot fulfill its role in holding the executive to account. Parliamentarians have a responsibility to create and safeguard laws that protect freedom of speech for everyone else. And they may also pass additional laws such as a right to information that helps the general public to hold the government to account. Parliaments also have a crucial role in safeguarding media freedoms, ensuring journalists are not targeted for what they write and that media outlets are free from government harassment. From my own personal experience, obviously there can be a huge step change in the way parliaments operate since the Maldives became a democracy in 2008. Prior to 2008, Maldives was a one-man authoritarian state, and any criticism of the government of president, whether it was by an MP or a citizen, invariably led to one place, a jail cell. I have spent many years in a Maldives prison cells precisely for calling the government to account while sitting as an MP in parliament. Since the Maldives transition to democracy, things have improved to no end. But we still have issues and parliament must remain vigilant. Democracy is a process, not an end destination. We need only to look to the United States last year to see how quickly democracy can unravel and how close one of the world's oldest democracies was to falling prey to authoritarian rule. As a general rule, from my observation in the Maldives, government would always want shortcuts and supremacy. It doesn't matter if the government was democratically elected or not. Power tends to corrupt, and officials and ministers need to show quick results. My friend, Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, thank you ever so much for inviting me.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you. Thank you, Excellency.
And I am pleased to say back working very soon. And thank you very much. I hope to be back
Get soon early.
working